Hey there, YouTube. How are you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel here for yet another video. Today's going to be a short one, I hope. We'll try not to ramble too long here. Anyways, I just wanted to... I had a lot of people on stream lately asking, what's my graphic settings? How's my game look so good? How's it smooth? The usual questions that one may ask. And as you guys may know already, I am running Snowymoon, so if I press end, you'll see that pop up here. My recommendation on Snowymoon, if you guys are running it, is to set it to DLAA. I'll get into why later, but I would set it to DLA, set it, forget it, that kind of stuff. TAA clarity is another good option. Yeah, right there. So I can set it. You won't notice too much of a difference. Here you might want to turn down the sharpness a bit, I suppose, but not too much of a difference. I recommend DLAA. All right, with that out of the way, let's just jump into settings. So in 1.57, SDS made some changes, at least what I seem to believe. They've made some changes to how reflections and lighting in general in the game work, but it affected mirrors, I think, in an unintended way. So because of that, I've made some significant changes here to graphics. And keep in mind, I am on a 5080 at the moment, so one of the top of the line cards. A substantial amount of RAM, really good processor, that works. Anyways, my missus plays as well. She's on a 4080, runs just fine. And I've got VTC members running on everything down to like 2080s, as well as 3060s, 4060s, those series as well. And they all run these settings with no issue. So if you follow my lead here, you should be okay. So I do have scaling at 400. Now I am on a 1080 display, and yes, that does matter. Well, it's a 4K display, but I have it downscaled to 1080. If you're at 4K or 1440p or whatnot, then adjust your scaling appropriately. 1080 scaled to 400 is 4K, right? So if you do 4K, you do your scaling at 100 and you leave it there. That's just how the math works out. You don't want to scale 4K by 400%. You'll end up with some astronomical number. The game gets all confused and you end up with like floating shadows and remnants of stuff. My computer can handle it, but the game cannot handle it. So for that reason, I recommend 1080 in ATS. 4K does work, but then adjust your scaling to get you back to 4K. I recommend 1080. Let your graphics card rest a little bit, and then just scale it to 400. Anti-aliasing, obviously that's disabled because I have Snowymoon running. If I didn't have that running, then I would probably enable this to like SMAA and TAA. So without Snowymoon, I would set it there and let your video card do its thing. And then, of course, if you're using TAA, adaptive clarity is the way to go. Texture quality. I always set this to high, or you could go into your config and even go a little bit higher than that. But high base game seems good. My filters, I always crank them up. Use normal maps. It's all good. Reflection scaling, again, I max this out. You could go into config and make it even higher if you wish, but I don't see the point. Mirror quality. Now, this is the one where the big change in 157 came in. I don't care how good of a computer you have. Obviously, mine's pretty high end at the moment. I highly recommend running this on low quality and ultra view distance. So, the two things here. Essentially, if you guys remember from like the early 2000s, maybe in 2010, and remember, ATS came out in 2016, but ETS 2 came out in like 2013, and we are essentially running the ETS 2 engine, right? That's what we're all running in ATS. So because of that, how shadows, aka reflections and shadows and all of that are done is instead of letting like ray tracing and that kind of stuff take care of it, what happens is they essentially render the same objects twice to get a mirror or a reflection. This is a technique that they did from early, well, I guess the mid 90s up until about 2015. Um, if you think of when a building is reflecting off of like a pond or a puddle of water, the game developers would actually create the same building right underneath of the building, underneath of the ground level, and is invert everything or reverse it, and then that would be the reflection. That's essentially what's going on here, as far as I can tell. That in the files, it's gone ahead and it's rendering your mirrors, the little tiny mirrors on your screen. You could have like 6 or 8 of them, depending on the truck you're in, and if you have your virtuals up as well. It's rendering each one of those mirrors as an additional screen. So going back to the scaling, if you're pushing your 1080 to 4K or you're using a 4K screen, you are at that point essentially running 6 to 8 4K monitors. It will throw your system a curveball. Now, if you're not running Snowy Moon, you're probably okay. DirectX 11 will sort it out, and it'll do its magic, and you'll be fine for the most part. But even without Snowy Moon, I recommend setting this to low, mirror distance to ultra, and you'll see your FPS go through the roof. The game will be more smooth. You'll have less crashes. Your CPU and your GPU will thank you. You'll get more longevity out of them. It's just good all around. And for what, right? Like you're losing a little bit of quality on a little tiny truck or car that you're going to see in your side mirror for 2 seconds when you go by it. Who cares? So that rant out of the way. Low, ultra, trust me, do it. You'll thank me later. Um, Shadows, kind of a similar situation here. I used to have it on ultra. In my personal opinion, and I guess you could leave it on ultra if you wanted, but I was looking for FPS gains. So if you knock it down from ultra to high, and we can see here in the picture in the top right, you can see what the change looks like. In my opinion, high looks better anyway. Anyway, ultra kind of becomes a blurry mess. High has a little bit more sharpness to it. So I guess it's personal preference, but ultra also uses 100% more resources than high does. So does that blurriness, does that make you happy for 100% more requirements? For me, I'm sticking with high. Uh, SSAO, you could use this, and if you are using it, I recommend high. I leave it off again. It's off because of Snowy Moon. Without Snowy Moon, please turn it to high. You'll be fine. Light visibility, everything else is maxed out. Depth of field, again, mine is turned off because of Snowy Moon, but you can absolutely run that. I'll enable it, but I'm pretty sure Snowy Moon will turn it back off later. Vegetation stuff is all maxed out. Weather quality, again, is custom for me because of Snowy Moon. And then pedestrians are, you know, they're optional, but I think most people leave them on. So that is the graphic settings. And then in your config file, let me see if I can pull this up here. Bear with me 1 second, guys. All right. So in your config file, you come in here and you get to this by going into American Truck Simulator. It's usually in your documents, American Truck Simulator, and you'll just see config. That's what you're looking for. Once you have that, you'll open it up, and what you're looking for in here is window length. Right here, use T averaging window length duration. I set that to 100, and average window length. This is at 240. I recommend that you double whatever your monitor's refresh rate is. Um, Whatever your refresh rate is, just double it. For me, my refresh is nearly 300 on this monitor. I'm not going to put 600 in there, but most monitors are roughly, somewhere between 60 and 120 hertz. There's a lot of 144s out there nowadays, so you could do 288 if you wanted. To me, 240 was a nice number. So if you're in that ballpark, you're probably fine. The other thing in here worth changing is buffer. So right here, your buffer page size. Now, I'm not sure what the cap on this is. I've heard that people say it's 30, other people say it's 50, some say it's 80. I'm under the impression I don't know if there is a cap per se. I've noticed a definite like increase when I set it at 250, or even let's just say I go to, I'll go to like 256. It's a good round number on computers. Um, this just helps with buffering and caching of items and objects in the game. This helps. This and the other two settings that I just mentioned, they will help reduce any kind of bottlenecks that buffering or caching of in-game objects may cause. It will help reduce your crashing when you're going into these new map areas that we discussed on my free mod video. Also, I don't know why, but the dry bulk double trailer tends to take a lot of buffer space, and setting this to 250 or higher seems to help prevent those crashes from that particular trailer when you're traveling. So yeah, that is my graphic settings, guys. That is my recommended graphic settings, and then this is the config file. So I do hope you found this video helpful. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Make sure you smash that like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things, and I will see you guys on the next live stream. Leave your comments, everything down below. I do read and reply to each and every one of them. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.